Saturday morning, right? Like this is my favorite day of the week. And so I'm glad to spend a part of it with you, really. I'm really thrilled. And I appreciate Stephen and want to say thank you to Start Here, Little Rock, and the collaboration with the Clinton School of Public Service, as well as the Arkansas Association of Black Professionals for deeming this conversation necessary and needed for hosting this event this morning. So we're gonna go right to it again. I'm Ceresia. I'm kind of sort of informal, and it's Saturday. This is not work, and this is not church. And so I don't want us to feel stale and cold. I don't like that, and I know that you could be doing anything, or you could be doing nothing at all, which is sometimes even better. So I want you all to feel engaged. I want you to feel welcome. We're glad that you're here. Hopefully others will trickle in. But I want you to loosen up, and I want you to smile, and I want you to frown, and I want you to give it all to me, because we all need that energy that you give out there. So again, thank you for being here. So our awesome panelists are backstage, and they're waiting, and I think I'll just call them out, and hopefully, well, they're up here. I'll go in order that the screen has. So we'll go first with Chris Bell. Chris Bell is with Complete Consulting. Chris, come on out. I don't have the order where you're coming out, so y'all might have to reshuffle. We'll make do. This is Chris. I want y'all to give it up for him as he comes on out. Come on out and sit down, have a seat. Next we have Justin George. Justin's with Apogee, and when everybody comes out, I'll tell you just a little bit more about their companies and their organizations. Mr. Ivan Hudson, are you back there? Come on out. I feel like this is like who's next? Come on, Ivan. I know he's here. Y'all reshuffling back there because you didn't know what order. Sorry. Come on out. Ivan Hudson. He's with the Ivan Hudson Agency. Tina McCord with Zuni Learning Tree. Miss Tina. Tina, yes. Miss Gina Radke. Come on out, Gina. Now, y'all's applause is sort of kind of weak, but we'll fix that on the back end once we kind of get everybody settled. Mock Sanko. I just love saying Mock. Mock, come on. Isn't that gorgeous? It is longer than that, and y'all can talk to him about that later. Anyway, Tanisha Turner with Bigham's Catering. Come on out, Tanisha. And last but certainly not least, Mara Yancey, the incomparable. Come on, Mara. Yeah, so this is our panel. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about them just very briefly before we go into some of our questions. But then after that, we're going to give them a real big rousing applause to get them all energized and juiced up to answer these great questions that we have for them. But first, we have Chris Bell here, who has the longest legs, I believe, on the panel. And Complete Consulting again. He was recently named to the 40 Under 40 list for Arkansas Business, and he's the founder and principal consultant of Complete Consulting in Little Rock, which is a full-service public accounting firm. And his clients include public schools and nonprofits. He specializes in audit, tax, payroll, and compliance services. So again, Chris Bell right here. Justin George is with Apogee. He's the founder and CEO. And this is a technology company which provides a single tool for online sharing across multiple channels. Prior to forming Apogee, he was managing partner at Ad Solutions Group, which is formerly known as Central Arkansas Board Deals. So that's Justin George with Apogee. Ivan Hudson, wave again, Ivan. He's with the Ivan Hudson. He's the founder of the Ivan Hudson Agency, and he's passionate about helping others, especially the underserved. He's decided to leverage his business development entrepreneurial experiences to launch his agency in 2013. Ivan is a man about town. He's a well-recognized leader, community servant, all-around great guy. So again, Ivan Hudson, glad to have him with us. Miss Tina, wave again to the people. Tina McCord is with Zuni Learning Tree. Tina is the founder and CEO, actually, and this is a digital platform for teachers and parents that puts the resources they need where they need them, when they need them, which is totally smart, right? So prior to starting Zuni, Tina began her career as an educator and administrator. So wave again, Tina. Tina McCord. Y'all are so sweet. Okay. Gina Radke. Gina has served as CEO, Gina, of Galley Support Innovation since 2007. She's an international trade advisor to Congress. That sounds super important. And she serves on the Governor's Career Education and Workforce Development Board and is well known for her involvement in community service. So we're glad to have Gina with us on today. Next we have Maf Sanko. He is the founder and CEO of Lumo Exchange, and that's a global money transfer platform, which sounds really so interesting. Lumo Exchange is creating the world's first localized money transfer marketplace to compare exchange rates in countries across the world. You had me at localized money, Maf. So this platform enables individuals to send online money abroad using local FX rates at lower cost compared with current providers. I know y'all are gonna have plenty of questions for Maf because I do already. All right, so thank you, Maf, for joining us. Tanisha Turner, wait, Tanisha. Tanisha is founder of Bigum's Catering. She has 10 years of combined experience in the food service and hospitality industry. She started Bigum's in 2012 in her home with a weekend food delivery service. And then in 2013, the big aha came when a family member requested her services at an event, which was super successful. And then from there, the vision has evolved. So we're glad to have Tanisha with us. And anything named Bigum, I mean, really, I love that name, Bigum's Catering. So give it up for Tanisha. Maura Yancey with Ola Arkansas. She's the president and editor-in-chief of the Ola Media Group, the leading Hispanic media and publisher specializes in bicultural, bilingual, and Spanish communication. She's also the founder of Ola Arkansas, the state's first premier bilingual newspaper. So now, I'm gonna put my water down and we're gonna like so totally hand clap, applaud them for being with us today. We've got an awesome panel, and we're gonna shoot right to it. Now I told them, y'all heard me backstage, like I'm super. This is not my 9 to 5. This is family now. This is Saturday. We're hanging out. We're getting good conversation, stimulating dialogue. Don't be stale. Don't give us that those corporate answers, PC answers. We want to keep it 100 real. We want y'all to tweet, Facebook. Make sure you do that. Are y'all on social media? Make sure you do that so that we can engage others outside of this theater today. So the first question I just want to know, and I'm going to go here first. I know that there was a good number of you who are already entrepreneurs, who are already business owners, but there's a smaller group here right now who are aspiring. So this is kind of for our aspiring folks first because I don't want them to get lost in the shuffle. You guys are business owners. What made you do it? Why? I assume that there was a point where you had a 9 to 5, you had a steady thing. So what was the aha that made you say that take that leap of faith? Because I think for many of us, it's the fear factor.
What?
Why? Why did you do it? And there's no particular order. All of you don't have to answer, but if you feel very passionate, I want, because we want to make sure that there's a lot of panelists and we want to get varying viewpoints. So I'm just going to kind of pick on somebody to start with, and I'm going to start with Gina. Why Gina? The aha moment. What was it?
You would ask me that. I didn't want to go into business for myself, actually. My husband actually was my aha moment. He's kind of the jump off the cliff type guy, and I'm the take care of him and figure out if he's going to get wings on the way down. And he decided that he wanted to be in business. Well, we knew we wanted to be in business for ourselves, is actually the truth. And we were just trying to figure out which one to purchase. We actually looked at a gym, which I'd probably be in much better shape if we'd done that. A Papa John's pizza, which I would be in much worse shape if we'd done that. And then an aerospace manufacturing company. And so we purchased the aerospace manufacturing company mainly because we didn't want to work for anyone else. And I know that's probably not the best reason to start, but that's what you say, keep it 100, right? Mm-hmm. We didn't want a boss. We wanted to be our own boss. We had no idea that our customers would then become our boss and they would be more demanding than any boss we'd ever had. But,
that's real, that's real.
I'll jump in. The aha moment for me was, I've actually had some pretty decent employer-employee relationships, but the last two employers that I work for, they like to remind me that I work for them. And so that was my aha moment. I finished my undergraduate degree in 2005, and in 2010, I decided to go back to pursue a master's degree. And I told myself that after I finished that degree that I didn't know exactly what I would be doing, but I would not be working for someone. During that time that I secured my MBA, I got connected with a wellness company and was connected to a lot of high net worth individuals. Also because I had matriculated through various jobs. I had a little extra disposable income. I was looking for folks my age, my demographic that I could talk to about investments, insurance, asset protection, and there literally was no one. And so I said I'd be that guy. And so I looked into the financial services sector and I launched my agency.
Awesome, awesome. Anybody else want to tackle that? Those are two really good perspectives. Tanisha, go ahead.
The first thing I would say is be careful what you ask God for. And the second thing was, I got tired of working for somebody. I would work for somebody and I have to quit or, getting fired. So I just felt like I can be my own boss, and it was just lining up where somebody would call me for a catering job, but I can't do it because I'm going to somebody else's place of employment. Not saying y'all have to quit your job or get fired, but that was just for me. So I took that leap of faith and was like, I'm just going to do it, and ever since then it's been working right.
That's awesome. I think that that's important. Some people think that you have to quit your 9 to 5 all at once. So as a panel, would you recommend that to our aspiring? I'm going to get to some other questions, but again, I don't want to ignore those who are not quite there yet because they don't really know how, or they just need that extra push. Can you work your job and what do you suggest, panel? Work your job a little, work your hustle simultaneously. Maf, I see your hand raised.
Yeah. So just to add to what people said, so I think there's a lot of things you have to take into consideration. You have to have passion for what you're doing. So when I started my business, it's really around my passion to go out and take a risk and do things that I really love. And so I worked at PepsiCo for 6 years before I started my business. And over the last 3 years that I was there, I started working on my business plan. And so you don't have to quit your job, but what you want to do is you want to have enough progress so when it's time to actually quit your job, you have everything in place, or you have a plan of action to actually go after it. Because it's not always easy. There are a lot of things that you got to work through, a lot of challenges. But because you have that passion, it really does come through.
I love that. Great. Business plans. Super important. Chris, you want to say something about it?
Yes, definitely don't quit your job.
He's the finance guy, he's the audit,
Well, the thing that I want to make sure that we're clear on is that you can't separate your business from everything else. It's all one. Who you are, what you do, it's all one. And if you quit your job, how are you taking care of home? You can't rely on your business, especially in those early years, to support you financially. It's very rare that a business in its first few years are actually turning profits. So you need to leverage your 9 to 5, so to speak, to continue to support yourself. Myself personally, I started my first business in 2004, and all I was doing was taking what I learned at 9 to 5 and applying it after hours and on the weekends. It took me 5 years before I actually stopped moonlighting and started to do my own thing full time. And it was at the point to where financially it made more sense for me to spend my time in my business versus someone else's business.
Is that helpful so far? Good stuff. I think it's good stuff. Make sure y'all are tweeting that. Use the hashtag #StartHereLittleRock. At them, and I don't know if some of these folks are on social media. I am, so Teresa Cole. And some of them too, you may want to look up. So, because we want to go back and look at, we're talking, so we want to go back and be able to catalog what's happening too, because it's good stuff for us.
Okay, Cerise, yes. I wanted to follow up on, you said how. How do you do it? Can I ask a question of the audience quick first? So how many of you read or listen to something motivational to try to inspire you to be able to grow, right? That's a really good place to start. So it's like 20 years ago, and I was listening to Wayne Dyer, and he would say, you don't ask how, you say yes, and the how shows up. So I remember sitting in my kitchen table thinking, someday I want to create a business that's really good for the world, it doesn't pollute, it won't put trash in the environment, and it's going to be something that's good for family, and I want to involve my family, it's going to be kids. And at this time I have no idea, right? You're just thinking about the big idea things of how you want it to kind of be those things that matter. And then you just go on about your day, you go on about your job. And so little do you know, as you said your little prayers, your life is going to begin to take you on that path so that that big wish you put out to the universe is going to come back to you. So it was 15 years later, and I had gone on and was an educator, became a teacher late in life, and became an administrator. And we had moved back to Arkansas because we had some family emergencies. And I was working with teachers, and it just wasn't right how hard we work them. It isn't right what we ask of them without giving them the supports. Because so many years of business and then going into education, you realize there's just a lot of ways we could give support to our teachers, our families, and our parents. So I just took this leap of faith. And I said, I wonder if we did this, if it would help ease some of these problems myself and my colleagues have experienced over all these years. And so it was way back when. I didn't know how. I said yes and left. I knew nothing about coding. I knew nothing about building a platform. I just had an idea, and I knew if we could do it, it would be easier. So I started this little place where I knew, and this is what you have to know about entrepreneuring. Everything will change. You must be comfortable with change, because how you start on one day is going to be very different, and you have to be willing to say yes to growing. You have to change your ways, your thinking, you have to learn new knowledge. It's like getting an MBA in a year and a half, this last year and a half of going through the Venture Center, of learning how to just be able to go to those next steps. So keep listening to the motivational stuff and keep your dreams and see what happens.
That's good. Justin hasn't said anything, so before we move on, Justin, is there something you want to offer? Y'all see I moved away. Can y'all hear me? Because I'm so not behind the podium, because I feel like I'm preaching my dad. Y'all don't want me preaching. Justin?
Yeah, so as far as taking that leap, if you can, at some point you do have to take a leap. So of course you want to keep your job for as long as you can, but if you want to do something big, if you want to make an impact, at some point you do have to do that. And there's never going to be a point in there where it's the right time or it's easier. I think they talk about building a business as jumping out of an airplane and trying to assemble your parachute on the way down, because that's what it is. Doesn't matter what you have in your business plan. Doesn't matter what you've written down. As soon as you contact customers for the first time, everything is going to go out the window, because you don't know until you actually do it. So as much as you do want to take the safe route, and you do need to keep paying yourself and paying your bills, at some point you're going to take that leap, and there is no right time for it. And it's very scary, but it's one of those things that you just have to do.
Gina, you have a chance. Let Mara say something.
And then Mark says something. And I'm completely different to everybody here. Entrepreneur is in my DNA. And so I have it from my grandmother, from my mother, all my aunts, and everybody in my family. My first business was at 17 years old, and actually was a nightclub. I was in Latin America, so it's okay to do it out there. Nobody asked me about IDs or anything like that. It's okay, it's cool. It was fine. My family was in the hotel and restaurant business, and I thought, hey, because I was seeing everything in the news about, coming out, the clubs and these things, and I go, there's not a club in here. Well, I'm gonna put it up together, and I did it. So actually, I did that. But the reason I'm saying this is because actually, for anybody that had never been in business, but is just thinking about getting in business, you also have it in your DNA. You know that we start as a humanity. There were no jobs. There was not like a boss and I work for you. It was everybody surviving. So literally business, we are survivors. We just like an idea, we want to do it, and then we figure it out, just like everybody's saying here. You don't have to have the plan together, trust me. And I know some people say plan, but I learned that really a plan is don't waste too much time on the plan. Get a big idea and get a kind of more or less plan, but then just go with your gut feeling and then just go in it and start doing something. And so all of you have it in your DNA. So you just have to figure out what is it that really moves you, what is your passion. You go for that, you can do it, because then you won't be nervous. And that's what it is. So I just wanted to tell you that even if you had worked for everybody, for somebody all your life, or your parents work, and you had generations and generations, so being an employee is still in your DNA. So find it, it's there.
Just real quick about leaving your job to start your business. One of the things, I tell people, hey, if you're going to do this, you need like 3 months worth of paying your own bills before you quit. And here's why. It's because one of the things that happens is, yes, you got to cut the cord at some point in time, but if you cut it too early and then you start your business, you go to work, and all of a sudden you got to take a job to pay for your business, then that, oh, did I fail? And you got all the haters out there, they're like, he thought he could do something, and now look at it. Yeah, and you lose focus. And so it's better to be more prepared in the beginning than to go out and do that. And I promise you, in our company, we've taken other jobs, we've done other things to make our company work, but you gotta, if you can avoid that, try to avoid that, because you don't ever want that, like he said, you lose focus and you start going, dang, it's easy to work for someone else. I work and I go home and I do what I want to do. And so, really, I know she just said don't be cautious, but I'm saying just a little bit, of, hey, I'm going to prepare to go big. And so I need to have that little bit of nest egg, so see if I can do it.
I love the varying perspectives. I think that there's something we can glean from all of them. Now, let's shift gears just a little bit. Let's talk about, so we've taken our leap of faith, we've gotten out there, we have a big idea, now we've taken a leap of faith. How did resources, community support, Steve mentioned venture capital. Did you even know what venture capital was? Did you know about any resources? Small business administration. What were some of the resources that you caught hold of, or you wished that you had? You learned about later, but then you found that you didn't, but you wished that you had, that could have been prepared in your entrepreneurial venture. So I'm going to start with Justin.
So there's a lot of great resources in Little Rock, and if you're getting ready or you're thinking about starting a business, that's the first thing you need to do. You need to get connected with the Venture Center, ASB, TDC. There are AEDC and ADFA. There's all kinds of support systems here, and it is really important to get involved. So when we did, for example, I was working out of my house and we didn't have enough money to get an actual office, so we were co-working out of the Venture Center. And the Venture Center had mentorship programs. They were called Huddle Hour or something like that. And we'd actually have 1 hour sessions with mentors, people that have done it before, to learn about different things that we had no experience with. So I had run a business previous, but I never raised venture capital. So this was my first time to raise venture capital, but we got to have mentor sessions with people that have done that before. And then, believe it or not, the venture capital is here. We started raising capital in May, last May of 2015. And we've raised $1 million venture capital right here in Arkansas. And the state support systems are really good. AEDC and ADFA, they give us tax credits that we get to give to investors, which entices them to want to invest in us. And you can even go out of state and do that. And those investors can sell those tax credits and make money, so it kind of helps to de-risk the money that they're investing in you. And all of this stuff, I had no clue what these were in April of last year. And in May, we're out there doing it, but you got to get connected. You won't believe how many resources there actually are to support you. And the state actually will even invest in your businesses at the same terms that the venture capitalists do, or the angel investors do. So these are programs we had no idea. Get plugged in, there's a lot of support.
Helpful? Yes. And so what Justin is saying, he didn't know, he wasn't an expert in any of that, right? You didn't know that was out there, so there's hope for us. Mom?
Yeah, I just want to add to that. I think the nice thing about Little Rock, we started our business in Atlanta, and it's a big city, right? So you're a small person in a big city, making those connections and coming to the different organizations that help you build a business is quite difficult. But I think what's nice about Little Rock is that it's small enough that you can make these engagements a lot easier. So I think you should definitely leverage that as much as possible. Go to the Venture Center and organizations like that and just learn and network. I think that goes a long way in building a business.
I think it also depends on the type of industry that you decide to enter. Not working in a large tech or small or large tech startup company, I had zero gross receipts to begin, so not really attractive to a banker. Not much collateral. I did have my 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses, but I will highlight a program through AEDC, Small and Minority Business Division, and I see my banker in the back as well, so I definitely need to talk about this program. But if you get certified as a minority business with the state of Arkansas, there are other resources that you have access to, and this is ethnic minorities, this is service disabled veterans, they're qualified as minorities in the state of Arkansas. But you have access to a loan mobilization program. And this loan mobilization program, in short, it guarantees your loan up to 90%. And so you still go through the traditional banking route, but it's a great tool. I did not leverage it initially, but since starting my business, I have taken advantage of that. And I worked with LaTwan Cheatham with Arvest Bank.
Something else that I recommend to do is, in whatever industry you are, there's somebody up there doing something, either the same thing or something similar. So I learned also to, just go after those people, and yes, it's a good way to let them know that you are, a follower, that you like what they're doing, and just invite them to have lunch, breakfast, and you will be surprised how many times those people are willing to talk to you, and then that actually cut a lot of the wrong steps or making the wrong decisions, because that person probably will tell you a few things that they probably had done. Should they start that right now, or they connected to other people? There are a lot of organizations, by industry, and so they say, oh, actually there's a conference this event here, we have these meetings every month, so you just have to plug in. So look at your industry and find out who some of the people are, and do not be afraid. I don't care how big the person is or small, it doesn't matter. You'll be surprised how many people will take a call from anybody, because you're letting them know that you like what they're doing and you are admiring them. So believe me, if you go to a meeting and you see anybody, and then just go and address that, and you save you a lot of time because they're already in that area, okay? One thing also I want to tell you is, please do not listen to anybody that is not doing their own business. Do not do that. Because these people are in a different level than you are. And they're different. Ask your people. I mean, I know that. I didn't know that. But then I realized through the years that I get people, panic. Because I tell them, the things that I do, they're used to a paycheck every 2 weeks or every week. And nothing wrong with that. But I'm at a very different level. I've been like that all my life. So it's kind of like I'm talking literally Chinese, to them. And I scare people. So when you say that to other people, the first thing, especially your loved ones, you scare them to death. They want to go, oh, please no. Oh, no, please don't go like crazy, like the neighbor, like a this. Oh, please no, look what happened to them. Please no, don't do that. Oh, that's not for you. That's a great job. In 2 years, oh my God, you're going to be making $35,000. And then you're going to be with a retirement, and you're going to do this and that. And oh, you can retire making $40,000 at age 60. Just keep doing that. And so just be really wary of the people that are not in the same mindset. Meet people in the same industry that are entrepreneurs, and other people that are looking or toying with the idea, that is good, but the other, stay away from them, because they can put you down and scare you, and actually they will delay your path. They will delay you, and you don't want that continuously on you. So actually a lot of those people are the ones that are in your family or your loved ones. So just be aware of that.
Very good, Mara. Very good. Y'all see Mara is very passionate. You don't scare people, do you really? No, you do come on kind of strong. No. But it's all in love. Like, you know she's about her business because she is super passionate. Chris said that he has something to add to that.
And I'll be brief, but I think it's very important. I am a person who believes in a plan. I think you should write it down, write the vision down, make it plain so that people can run. And once you have that plan, regardless of what resources you utilize to get that plan together, I think you have to identify your team of professionals. I noticed my attorney, back in the back, David Jones there, he represents several of our clients, and because of the work that he did with our clients, I said, you have to be my attorney as well. But I can't tell you the number of times, and we've consulted with hundreds of small business owners throughout the years, I can't tell you the number of times that people come to us with a mess that we have to unravel. And the sad part about it is they don't know they have a mess. Whether it's through their tax return, whether it's through asset protection or liability issues, you need to make sure that you're starting off with the right structure, that you have the right systems in place, and that you have the right professionals on your team. And not every professional is the right professional for a small business owner. So I want to be very, very clear about that.
So that's about resources. So you see there's lots of resources out there. Now, mentorship, do you guys, so if any of these folks in this audience, if they came up to you afterwards and said, hey, I want to ask you a question later, would you be willing to do that? Because I think, like Nora said, that's, you kind of like, I have questions, I don't really know who to direct them to. So Justin, could you tell me more about this venture capital? Are you guys willing to do things like that? Yeah, so they all say yeah, so you got them on the hook, get them. I always tell people when I speak, I tell young people, don't leave a room without making the connect. Don't do that. You've got a person standing in front of you with ideas or wisdom or they're where you're trying to be. Don't let them leave you. You let them come into your sphere and then you let them leave it. And then you don't go back and you don't follow up and you don't reach out. So don't do that today. Whether they're people, among yourselves and the panelists, don't do that. Make sure you connect and plug in your dream. Venture capital, resources, mentorship, just somebody giving you some motivation. We've got some great questions that are coming in through Slido. Y'all using that Slido? It's pretty cool, huh? And I saw one, there was a person who asked about finances. Did you get your question as how do you finance your business? That's what someone wanted to know. We talked a little bit about some of the resources. And I thought that was a pretty good one because that's one of the other things that keeps people tethered to their jobs. They don't know how, they don't have any money to startup money. So do y'all feel comfortable? You kind of got some direction on that? Remember, it's not church, so we got to talk to each other.
One thing I would say about financing is going into business, like Justin said, we didn't have a clue. We were like, all right, we're going to do this. 2 years. Every bank said, I need you to have 2 years of business before we can give you money. And I'm like, well, we just quit our jobs 7 months ago, so we have an issue. And so if you want to hold on to the job for 2 years, whatever you want to do, for 2 years, SBA, you got to have 2 years. There's a lot of things that you have to have 2 years for, unless you're going to do venture capitalist or something like that. But going through a bank and financing, most of it is about 2 years. And don't be afraid to ask for money. I call the state all the time, and I'm like, do I have money? What do you got money for? Do I have something that you can give me money for? I mean, it was so bad one time somebody heard my name and they said, tell her we don't have any money for her. And I'm like, but if you've got money, I need it, so let's figure out how for you to give it to me, And so, I mean, ask. Don't, like she said, don't be afraid to find a mentor. Go to these innovation hubs. Where did you get your money? Go to the state. I want to start this business. I think I can hire this many people. How much money can you give me? If any of you guys are in technology, there is the Arkansas Technology Authority, and they give money to bring new technology to Arkansas. And I'm a manufacturer, and they've given me money to put new systems in and to train people. That's a lot. They don't do training anymore, but they'll help you with software and stuff like that. But ask for money, and I'm sorry, but almost everywhere you got to have 2 years to get some sort of financing.
You guys agree with that? About 2 years? Justin, were you going to say something?
So on two parts. One is as far as mentorship and advice. It's really important when you're talking about getting business advice is that you're getting it from the right person, someone that's doing something similar to what you're doing. So before this, I had a marketing business, and it's completely different than a tech business that you're trying to scale very quickly. So if you're trying to scale a tech company very fast and trying to get market share and disrupt an industry, I could give you great advice, right? But if you're looking to do a different type of business, then find the right type of person to get that advice from. So they're going to, for example, when we're up here giving advice, I'm going to give some very counterintuitive advice than what another person up here is giving. So you got to find out, is that right for your type of business? And even for us to get to the point to where people ask, like, how do you finance this? I went into debt. That's how I ran up credit cards left and right to get to the point to where I could actually have an entire software product built, go out there to school districts and try to get somebody to take a chance on us. Once they finally do, then we go to angel investors and venture capitalists, because they're not giving you money until you have something. So it's always going to be a chicken and egg problem. That's not going to go away. And so the reality is that, yeah, we went into a lot of debt and ran up a bunch of credit card debt to get to the point where we could do that. But and then we talk about business plans and things. So just make sure you're talking to the right person with different advice, and make sure that you don't just take this, that, okay, you heard, just because I'm saying a certain thing, there's a good chance it doesn't fit for your business, right? So what Chris and Ivan are saying is exactly right about having a business plan and going through that. In my type of business, we don't do business plans. We do what's called a lean canvas, and it's completely different. So make sure that you're looking for the right person for the right type of advice.
I have something. Since Moth and you too, Justin, there's a great question on slide up. Let me find it. Y'all's questions are really good too, by the way. Anonymous says, for a tech entrepreneur, start here in Arkansas or versus start elsewhere, like the East Coast, the West Coast? What are your thoughts about that? Starting in Arkansas or going outside of the state?
You want to start here? That's it? No,
Start here.
So the reason you want to start here is that if you're a tech company, you're going to have a lot of financial needs, and you're going to want to scale quickly, because if not, what happens is anybody else can copy what you're doing and catch up, so you have to move really fast. In order to move that fast, you have to raise capital. Okay? The reason you want to start here when you're doing that is you can be a big fish in a small pond. Okay? You go to Dallas, you go to Atlanta, you go to Boulder, Austin, or San Francisco, you're nobody there. Okay? You're absolutely nobody. In Little Rock, Arkansas, there isn't as much tech startup activity going on, so as soon as you start getting some traction, everybody knows about you, all the investors know about you, and you kind of become the hot thing, and this allows you to actually go raise that capital. And in small markets like this, every city wants a big startup hub, and in small markets like this, they're looking for that big success, and they're wanting to help any tech startups to become that next big success. And whereas you're absolutely a no one in one of those bigger cities, so that's why I think you should start here. And the cost of living is cheaper, so you can actually scale and actually, make your money last longer.
Good point. Wow.
Yeah, so we moved our business from Atlanta to Little Rock, so that says a lot, right?
Wow.
To Justin's point, the biggest problem really is, you're in a big city, and there are a lot of startups, right? So trying to make the break into the right, individuals to get investments and so on and so forth, it's really difficult. We spent a year in Atlanta. Before that, we were in the New York area. So those are big hubs. And the nice thing about Little Rock, like Justin said, is you have access to people, access to networks, and the community is very supportive to be able to help you grow your business. So it doesn't matter where you are for a tech company. I think if people like your product, they go on the internet. They could be in Florida, they could be in Hawaii, they can be all over the world and access your technology. So if you have a really good product, it's all about how you market it and leveraging the internet to do it.
I love that. People always ask you, why are you in Arkansas? Why are you doing that in Arkansas? People say that, so they just debunked that totally. They said, why not Arkansas? So absolutely. Tina, you want to add to that?
I do. I would like to add to that, and I'm really kind of surprised that I'm going to actually make a comment that I just made. So starting here, I wanted nothing more but to build from here. And some advice that I've gotten from very big leaders in our state were, don't try to go here, just go out of state if you need to. So I fought that for about 2 years. I'm like, why would I want to go out of state? This is my backyard. This is where I want to be. It's my teachers here, it's my families here that I want to start with and go out. So it's interesting how that little advice that I got 2 years ago still kind of plays around in here. I think in order for us to really be an amazing ed tech state, we must look local first. We in Arkansas need to build a framework where we are really focusing on look local first, because we want to build here. You have entrepreneurs that want to build here. Ultimately, as an entrepreneur, you're going to have to decide to go. Where is there going to be some money that you're going to get what you need to be able to go where you need to go? And you're constantly fighting that own internal, I love it here, this is my home. So we as a state, all of us entrepreneurs here, people out in the state, we must look local first. How can we really build that? I spent many years in Alaska where they're not connected to the lower 48 as they call it, and anytime federal money came in, they looked to spend it to a local entrepreneur first. So how do we build that interstate, whether you're an educational industry, a finance industry, whatever your industry is, it's really up to us to make Arkansas the place that entrepreneurs want to stay.
No, that, well, that's brilliant. Really quickly, there's several questions. Our audience really wants to know some names. I know that Jessica threw out some names and Ivan mentioned, but round robin, really quickly, with no commentary, we're going to go down the panel. A name of an organization that assists current and new businesses, or an organization that was most helpful for you in building your business, because they really want to know this. So you can mention a couple, but I want to get through everybody. So no commentary, just the name of the business, right? Straight down. Sir, Chris.
So I'm going to go outside the box here. St. Mark Baptist Church, actually.
Oh, wow.
The Venture Center, and they have a great pre-accelerator program that actually helps you validate your idea before getting started.
I would say the Arkansas Small Business Technology Development Center.
I have to say the Venture Center Pre-Accelerator Program. One more, Delta Regional Authority, since we could say two. Delta Regional Authority, their entrepreneurship program really helped make a difference as well.
AEDC, Small and Minority Business Section, and the Innovation Hub in North Little Rock.
The Venture Center, the VC FinTech Accelerator Program, and Bear State Bank.
Mine is a little different because food service banks don't really finance that. They have 3% of survival. So I had to get support from families if that's available. Unless you're already booming, then the banks will look at you, because other than that, they feel like food service is only 3% of survival.
I started my first business in Arkansas in 1993. There was not much available at the time, but I did recognize that going and attending events like this, and there was a lot of associations, I would go out there and then the right people would pop up to me. So that helped me a lot. So I happened to know the people in banking and a lot of the state agencies at the time. They were not at all, they're not promoting it. They didn't even know what they were doing at the time. Like now they are. So then I started meeting those agencies, and that helped me because they were talking about copying what other states were doing. And I said, well, you need to do that. And then especially about minorities and women business, that helped a lot. So I kind of had grown with everything. So now everything that they mentioned, they're part of, my roster. But at the beginning, so many years ago, it was just attending the events and attending the meetings and letting people know that, what I was looking for.
Right, like we're doing here. Great. Just wanted to ask Chris right quick, why St. Mark? Was there something that they pray, they lay hands on it? What did they do?
All the above. No, and I know that that's not an answer that we would typically hear, but like I said before, you cannot separate your business from your family or from anything else. You are your business, and your business is going to reflect you. St. Mark, for me personally, St. Mark built my character, and my character is reflected in my business. And ultimately, there is, and let me also say, St. Mark has 8,000 plus members. And there are several ministries, several programs there where we are reaching out to individuals both within our church body and outside into the community. We have one in particular that really stands out to me is Money Mondays, where we're giving personal financial, we're teaching financial literacy through a series of courses. We teach budgeting, debt elimination, investment strategies, credit restoration, There's several things that are happening through those classes, and I was pulled into that. I was forced to participate in that, but that really gave me the passion to move beyond just the public schools and the nonprofits and started reaching out to our small businesses, our medium-sized businesses, our individuals. There's great needs there, and we don't know what we don't know. Without being too long, my wife almost came to tears when she realized that at 31 she was just learning what she felt like she should have learned in high school in terms of being able to manage money. And if you don't know how to manage your own personal finances, don't start a business. Because it's going to be a lot of effort for somebody else, just like in your personal finances. You're going to be working to give your wealth away to Visa, to, I already named the company, but to the mortgage companies or whatever the case may be. So there's certain aspects that you have to know. We are in business, most of us are in business to make money. So if you don't understand money, you need to slow down on this jump off the cliff mentality and learn how money works. And then make your business work to make you money.
That's really good. So I wanted to just stop there with Chris because we kind of overlook churches, his house of worship. So that, in addition to the more traditional routes, that there are other avenues for you to get support for your businesses. So was that helpful to all of you who asked about organizations and businesses? Okay. Tanisha, there was a question that's pointed to you, and because I want to give you some love, and there are people who out here want to know the steps that you recommend for other home cooks that would like to start cooking professionally. And I love that question. It's directed, it has your name, Camille wants to know. So talk to Camille.
Hi, Camille. I would just say, just do it. You know, you have to, if you're nasty, don't cook in your house.
My God, no, please don't do that.
You know how people take Facebook pictures and they don't realize the stuff in the bag? People pay attention to that. Also, how you present yourself. You know, like people be on Facebook, on their personal page, they'll be cussing somebody out or being very unprofessional. It needs to match you. Like he said, you know, it's your brand. So once you own a business, everything has to line up. But as far as cooking in your house, you know, whatever you like to cook, that's what you cook. But also be open to change because, of course, your consumers and customers, they change your business plan. So I went and started with a burger joint, now doing catering. So just be open to change and make sure your house clean and be passionate about what you're doing and, you know, stay consistent with it.
Thank you. Hope that helps, Camille, and I know that Tanisha would probably be willing to talk to you a little bit more about some other questions. Now, here's a question that kind of piggybacking on Chris's thoughts about your business. You are your business. You are your brand. Tanisha mentioned it. There's a question that several of you really want to know. How do you market your business, panel? Was it difficult to get your name out there and build your clientele? So, Tanisha, go ahead.
Of course, your name. So everybody likes to name big ones. And second of all, you know, a great free source is social media. But another thing I recommend, my mentor told me, you want to have a website. Most of the time people approach you, especially the top dogs, they'll say they don't really go to social media. If you think about it, if you want to shop at Dealers or Coach, you don't go to social media to their Facebook page, you go to their website. If Facebook crashed tomorrow, what do you have left? You don't want to build a website, then you want to have it already.
Well, I have an international company. So, like Maria talked about associations, I joined all the associations, the National Business Aviation Association, the Arkansas Aerospace Alliance, I mean, any association that I could. And then, once I went broke from paying dues, I started looking at the ones that I was like, well, this one is not doing me any good. I don't do business within this state. Now though, I'm a member, I used to be a member of Little Rock, North Little Rock, and Sherwood Chamber, the State Chamber, and then I was like, I'm seriously going broke. So I started weeding things out. I'm not gonna sell airplane parts to somebody in Sherwood. Now, as I have more money and I want to invest in my community, I have re-entered into those. But getting into associations that you want to be with, getting around people that you want to be with, networking, that is so important because people meet you and they go, you know, I like that person and they have good character, I bet their products are good. Justin?
This isn't any insightful advice or anything, but when you're first getting started, these people that you're going to talk to, telling them to buy from you, they're taking a risk. Why on earth should they buy from you when they can buy from an established company? Tina and I both go after school districts. So this school district is taking this information to their board, to their school board, and telling the school board we should go with this company that has no customers. We should cut them a check. They're working out of their house. At this point, this is where hustle comes in. Okay, if you're talking to 100 people, you should be talking to 200. If you're talking to 500, you should be talking to 1,000. There is no way. It actually doesn't make sense for a large company or to use someone that is just getting started up and take that risk. Why should they take that risk? So you have to talk to so many people that you just hustle your way to your first few customers.
Hustle. Hashtag hustle. Great.
One more.
Something else about branding, in a word that Chris said that is very important. I mean, you are your own branding, you are your own business, and you are your character. And then it just happened, you know, when you go to a place and you appeal to other people, then you are selling whatever you're selling. It doesn't matter what it is. So, you know, you have to talk to a lot of people. Everything that everybody's saying here is exactly what you gotta do to do the brand. And then it just pops out. Because right, you know, at the beginning, nobody knows you. You're just maybe an employee, maybe you're just a family member, you have a very small society that everybody knows you in that small cocoon. And then for you to move on, to go and find the other customers that you need to survive or to grow your business, you need to build your credibility. And that's very important. And how you do it is the combination. You go in and be part of the associations. There is a lot of associations that go by niches too. The woman this, the men this, the black this, the white this, the purple this, whatever it is, you go and be part of that. And it's gonna take you, just like everybody said here, it's not gonna be to go to one and okay, well I just went to that conference. No, I mean that at the beginning, now I choose a pick, but at the beginning I went to everything that had a crowd. Everything that had a crowd, introduced myself, and then people wanted to ask me what I was doing. And then I was my, you know, elevator speech, 2 seconds to say this, what I'm doing, this, what I'm doing. I'm Hispanic media, we shall Hispanic market. So guess what? I become the Hispanic market. So now anybody that looking at Hispanic market somehow filters to me. It took a lot of years to do it. So you build the same thing too. Now it's easier. Years ago it was more difficult. Now you have social media, websites, and the opportunity to come to any of these events. I mean, every of you can come in here, you can prepare with your business cards and your idea right there and your fingertips. You come out of here with businesses or a great connection right there. So that's pretty much what you do, and then that builds up into your brand and your credibility.
I was going to say, you know, Justin was talking about large companies. One of the very first things that, our very first major contracts we got was Gulfstream. And what we did was we came in and we said, we will do this and we won't charge you for design fees. All of our competitors were charging $30,000. And we said, we will do it for free. I promise you, it almost killed us for about 2 years. But then when that production started, it was great. And now, I don't do work for free now. Now I say, I did the G6 and it's this much money. You know, but in the beginning, I didn't have that. I had nothing to say, you should do this for me. You should, you know, trust me. So if you're starting a business, you need to be taking pictures of everything you put on your plate and being like, don't you want to eat what I'm eating? And get that up, you know, with a restaurant. You're here today, you want to be an entrepreneur or a financer or whatever you want to do. You need to be snapping a photo and saying, I'm here to start now because this is what I do. This is my life. This is my passion. Because people will go to social media and they'll be like, what is she talking about? You know, what does she know? And we all know, when I go to look at someone, I want to know if they're credible. I go to Twitter and I'm like, how many followers you got? Now you can just buy them. So I'm like, you know, it may not be credible anymore. But, you know, I mean, always marketing yourself. You want to do your cousin's wedding, you want to be an event planner, you take every picture of that, and you may have done it for free, but you put it all over social media like she paid you $10,000 to do it. So it's, I mean, there may be a little work up front for free, but you use that as marketing leverage to say, look what I did, and you build that portfolio.
So don't just do it.
Yeah, just don't do not do free work that you are not marketing. Let me clarify.
Leverage the.
Yes, leverage it. That free work is your marketing portfolio, and you leverage that.
You know, this question reminds me of a bit of information I received early on that I think is appropriate to share here. I would encourage each person in here who is thinking about starting a business to make the decision very early about whether you want to be a business owner or you want to be your own, you want to be self-employed. Let me explain briefly. Do you just want to, I want to work for myself. And I'm really not looking for a team or anything of that nature. I'm going to work out of the house. I'm an accountant, so I'm just going to go and find a few folks to keep up with their accounting, do their books, or whatever the case may be. And whatever I can do, that's what I'll do. Anything beyond me, I'll let it go. Or are you ultimately trying to build a business, something that can operate independent of you, something that will last beyond you, something that ultimately one day, I think from a business perspective, the thing that you should be focusing on is equity, something that you can one day sell. Those paths are completely different. And so when we're talking about branding and we're talking about how do you get your customers, the paths are different based on that decision that you choose. I started out leading with Chris, thinking that that was just the way to do it. If people knew me, if people trusted me, then they would give me their business. Well, what happened over the years is I really decided later that I wanted a business, and I hired a team, but none of the customers wanted to deal with my team because I had built a Chris brand, not a complete consulting brand. And so it consumed me in trying to meet the demands of the customer that was, I want Chris Bell, I don't care about complete consulting. I did later spend a lot of money trying to shift that and get everyone used to complete consulting. And here's the twist. Now I have multiple businesses and I'm shifting back to Chris Bell because every business that I am associated with, every business that I own, I want that immediate validation when you see, oh, Chris Bell owns that.
Wow. I think that we talk about how business is fluid. You know, you start one way, you may start this way, you have to switch, you have to switch back. So we have just a few more minutes. Does somebody else want to jump in on that? Tina wanted to say something really quickly.
I just wanted to say something quickly, and kind of a little off topic of that to the women in the audience. So oftentimes women struggle talking about money. We talk about struggle putting a value to it. We talk about, we may not know how to talk about money if we're going to think about an opportunity that's going to scale. What is venture capital? What does it mean to have a pro forma? What does it mean to have a burn rate? What does it mean to have those sort of things? So I really want to piggyback on what was mentioned earlier about financial literacy. You must do this for yourself. You must really learn how to become comfortable talking about money. So go and get with those organizations, network with the groups. I know many women, I know myself, I struggled. I wouldn't have struggled near as much. Somebody said, here's $425,000 I'd like to invest in your company. And I went, I've never borrowed money in my life. I didn't even know what to do with it. So I spent 2 years struggling to then go and learn what it meant to raise money. And what does it mean to put a price? How do you put a price on something if it's a service or an item? So really, women, get comfortable talking about money and valuing whatever your item is, your service or yourself, and the money that you're going to put to it. So just really do what you need to do that now.
I love that. That's great. And kind of just in our, we have another question. Stephen's going to come up and give us some directions about lunch, but I've got to get this in before we do that. Because you just talked to the women directly. Someone wants to know, I want to know, advice for not only women, but as minorities. What's it, advice for staying motivated in sectors, fields, industries where you're the only one, where there are barriers, there are challenges, systemic maybe, about you being a minority, about you being a woman, how you stay motivated, what are some things that you've done to dismantle and get over that hump, how do you fight to stay alive?
I would say, of course, it goes back to your appearance, not appearance, but your how you operate in your business. You'd be surprised how many people think I'm an employee versus a CEO, and when they find out I'm a CEO, they're kind of shocked. You can't feel like because you're a minority that they're supposed to treat you differently. You go in there with your mindset on what you want, what you came there for, and get straight to the point. That's how I am. When I went to the bank to get my loan, my business plan was 20 pages. The first thing they looked at was how much money do you want and how I'm gonna get it back. That's all they wanted to know. My business plan could have been 2 or 5 pages, but people focus on the number of pages, so you don't let anybody treat you differently. And you have expectations to be treated like everybody else. So that's how it goes down to how you treat your brand and how you present yourself. If you go in there with a t-shirt and jeans on, they're gonna treat you like a person with t-shirt and jeans versus, you go in there looking professional.
I believe it's important that you ask yourself, what would I do if I was not a minority, or how would I operate my business if I were not a minority? Secondly, I think it's important that we realize in the stage of minority business development, which era are we really in? We're no longer in this kind of set-aside era where the main competitive advantage is I am a minority, so give me business. We are, in my opinion, kind of on the tail end of the access era. I think today's platform is more so focused on providing access, technical assistance, connecting with supportive service organizations. But I honestly think that we're really, we're behind the mark on that as a state, as a city. But globally, we're in a competitiveness era. So when we look at the capacity of our businesses, it's not only, the ability to go to the Secretary of State's office and get an LLC. It's not only the ability to seek opportunities, even though sometimes we have to squint really hard to see them, but it's also about your ability to go and get that work and get paid. That's, goes down to your estimating, that goes down to your pricing structure, and the ability to make money, profit, and grow your business. So I think if you recognize what era that we're in and really, see if you can still leverage the fact that you're a minority business owner, but understand also that we're past that era.
I am very passionate about this, and I do not apologize for that. And that's right. And so let me tell you, one is being a woman in manufacturing. There are very few women in manufacturing. I cannot tell you how many times someone says, "Oh, do you do your husband's books?" We would all be in jail. It would be an accident, but we would all be in jail, and our employees would be at McDonald's. I mean, I do not do the books. First thing my grandfather told me when we started a business, he said, get a good CPA and a good attorney. And that was, I remember she asked $125 a month to do my books. I was like, oh, I can't do that. But I was like, it was the best money I ever paid. And the second thing, yes, I deal with a lot. One thing I try not to do is I do not overcompensate. I do not dress like a man. I do not try to act like a man. I'm not going to be a ball buster. I don't care. Listen, I will get just as much done being nice to you and loving you as a person as God intended me to love you, as I'll get more done that way than getting in your face and being like, you're going to listen to me and da-da-da-da-da. You just love people and you treat them how you want to be treated is one reason I feel like I've gotten respect in this industry. But another thing I want to tell you guys, as a white person, I see racism different than you guys. Because people will come up to me and say things like, we just saw each other last night at the KKK meeting. I'm like, what? Did you just, excuse me? And I don't even understand, one guy came in and was cussing and using the N-word, and I was like, okay, we have a problem. And my husband said, we don't talk like that here, and I have a very mixed family. And then he leaves because he was so mad, and he left me with this man who tried to explain to me how he wasn't racist for 2 hours. And I was like, I don't know if you thought it was okay to talk to me that way because we have the same skin tone, but we do not have the same, well, probably Jesus, And we do not have the same opinions about different races. And so there is, bring it in, there is systematic racism, there is structural racism. And a lot of people don't know that and they don't understand it, especially in our age, because we didn't grow up with it. It just trickled down to us. My husband is Native American and he's from an Indian reservation, and I can't tell you how many times people say, "You're trying to be white. Why are you trying to be white? You've been whitewashed." And he's like, "Where does that come from?" And he struggled with that for years. And people will tell people that all the time. If you're educated, why are you trying to be white? Well, wait a minute. Now, what does that mean exactly? Let me tell you what that means is in the history, after African Americans were slaves, the Civil War started, and we used to say, white people, used to say, well, you know, African Americans and Hispanics and basically anybody that's not white, they're not human. They don't have the capacity to do the things that we do, so that's why they can be slaves. Because if you look at a person that God created, you cannot tell that person, you're less than me. So you have to get in your mind that they're less than you in order for you to treat them that way. Well, then the Civil War came, and we were like, well, wait a minute, we need black men to fight. So we were like, they're good, they're athletic, let them do that. But they're not smart. And so people started telling people, black people aren't smart, Mexicans aren't smart, these people are not smart. And then it became this thing that trickled down that now we have associated education with acting white and not with acting black. And that is wrong. And I'm sorry, I know I may be but here I'm telling you, that is wrong. And we gotta quit saying that to people. And I know, obviously I don't say it because I'm white, but I do tease my one son about being white. But we have to stop that. And you don't let anyone ever say to you that you're trying to be somebody else because you want to do better for yourself, because you want to make money, because you want to be an entrepreneur. That's not trying to be a different race. That's trying to be successful. And we have to and we need to educate people that, because they don't know that. They don't know that what we have done over these years is now given the key to slavery and handed it to the black community and said, now you just oppress yourself. And that's not okay. And I know that you guys see great examples of men and women up here of color who are doing great things. And I don't know if anybody's ever told you that you act white or not, but I know that in my house, we have a minority and we have a woman that run a business, and we've dealt with that. And we've dealt with, men trying to tell me that I don't really know what I'm doing because I'm in a machine shop and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm very passionate about that, and I just wanted to share that.
We don't reach a it comes from the heart, that's real. Anybody else want to contribute to that conversation about being a woman or being a minority?
I want to go ahead something that you just remind me of. I'm in media. I have a print, online, radio, television, and events. That's what I do. And I started a newspaper in year 2000. It's going to be 16 years this year. Well, I came up with that idea. I'm an economist. So one thing take me to the next. That's what happens with entrepreneurs. One thing take me to the next. So I got a contract with the Census Bureau, and by working with them, I noticed the change on demographics, and there was no Hispanic media here, so I jumped on it. Never did a newspaper before. I said, but this is an opportunity, and I did it, and I started that. So there I go, all fresh, wide-eyed, all excited to do a newspaper. And I got everything done because I come from professional, corporate, and very professional, minded, so I came out with everything, very good presentation for a newspaper to go to the advertising companies and go for advertising. Already in my plan changed so quickly, drastically. It was, I'm gonna go to the advertising company, they're gonna advertise with me, I'm gonna make a ton of money, it's gonna be great. So that was my plan. And let me tell you, right there on the first meetings with the advertising companies in Little Rock, I went up there, got my presentation, which I was used to because I'm used to working in big, large companies, used to do a presentation and hold it good. And then everybody, oh, but you just started? Yes. Okay, we don't do business with anybody that is a brand new business. And I go, well, okay, so what does that mean? I mean, I'm just starting now, but I have everything ready, I got the paper, I got this is the pricing, I can give you very good pricing, I want to do something. We don't advertise at all with new businesses. So come back in 2 years if you are still in business. And this happened to me several times. And if you do, we might, and I remember clear the words, I remember clear to this day, we might advertise with you, we're not sure. Our clients only want proven media. And there was sarcastic here, sarcasm there. They look at me like this little woman, don't know who you are, and you have an accent and all these things, and just coming here. I mean, it was just pretty unusual. Guess what happened? Roll it years back. The advertising companies, I don't visit with them. They call me because I had built the partnership with their clients, and I'm in every one of their clients' media buying. So they call me and send me the orders. I don't even see them anymore. So just to tell you how things changed, but it was very, strange. I was not used to anybody telling you that, but it happened to me over and over and over for many years at the beginning of the year. So I changed my plan. I said, okay, I'm not going to any advertising company. I'm going directly to work with the clients, and that's what I did. And just like you said, I went up there and did a lot of things free. So I went to the industry. Okay, I get this one free, and then I will go to the other one. Oh, my client is this and this. Really? Oh, competition. Really? Okay. What can I do for me? Oh, I can even give you a better price. And that's how I started.
And to touch on that real quick, as far as one of the things as an entrepreneur, one of the people ask what's the advice you can give, and one of the most important things is you have to be able to manage your own psychology. The reason I'm starting with that is that it's unfair. Okay, there's no doubt about it. So I go in to raise capital from venture capitalists. I don't wear slacks. I always wear jeans. I usually have holes in my jeans. I don't wear a suit. Chris's suit probably costs more than my whole wardrobe. Okay, all right. And I'm tatted up, okay, and I was able to raise money. Now, if an African American went in dressed exactly like I was, he would have had a harder time raising that money, okay? That's the reality of it. They're called implicit biases. There was studies that were done, for example, when referees wouldn't call as many personal fouls on Cam Newton because they felt that because he was black, he could take more pain than a white quarterback, right? That referee wasn't, probably, it was an implicit bias that was there, and you're not going to be able to, you're going to face that. And when you face that, you can step up and you can manage your own psychology and you can break through it, or you can use it as an excuse, okay? These two dudes here next to me are killing it, okay? So you have to do that. You're going to face it. There's just, anybody that says it's not there, it is. And a lot of times it's not on the surface, it's behind the scenes, it's subconscious, and it's implicit. It doesn't make it any more right. It's just how are you going to manage your psychology when you do face that?
Just real quickly, I would say, focus on your work product. That in my industry, I do a lot of work with public schools, and I was 27 years old when I first started in this space. And many of the people at the table that I was sitting at had been doing the work for 30 plus years. So before I was even born, they were already there, right? So not only was I this young black kid, literally with a backpack still on my back, walking in the door, that was younger than their youngest child, I was black. There was a race issue as well, right? But ultimately, and I had people tell me even after I was established to some degree, you go south, there's a lot of districts in southern Arkansas that could really use your help. But when you try to go north, you're going to need me. So you need to partner with me so that I can sponsor you in all these other venues. And ultimately, what I came to realize is that if I personally, if I was drowning in a lake and a hand reached down to save me, I would not care what color that hand was. I would just pray to God that hand was strong enough to pull me out. So what I focus on is the strength of the hand. I know that when I reach down and I pull up, I can pull that person out of the water. Ivan and I were talking earlier before we started about how as you mature in business, you get to a point where you have to accept everyone, and then you get to a point where you can pick and choose. I can pull a whole lot of people out of the water right now, but now at this level, at this season, I can choose who I want to work with. And once you, and keep in mind, I would just say keep that in mind. Deal with what you have to deal with to get to where you want to get to. But know that once you get there, everything flips. Everything flips. And now you're the one who people are coming to. And remember your struggles, remember what you went through, and make sure that you don't create those same types of hurdles. Matter of fact, open doors. Kick them wide open, tear the walls down around the doors, so that the people coming behind you will have a much easier path. You talked about the dress, the tats, and all those things. I purposely go into certain venues where I already know the stereotypes are not going to perceive me, dress certain ways so that I can say that my clothes do not define me. You already know who I am. And now you see me in this venue looking like that person that you disregarded just yesterday. Me looking like this today will make you think again about how you perceived or the stereotypes you had about that other person who you don't know, who has the tattoos, who has the jeans hanging low, or whatever the case may be. Now I will say in the same breath, I will go to the young man and say, pull your pants up. I will say, put on a suit. I will say, you have to understand those stereotypes exist, so work against those stereotypes on your side. So it's two ways.
Excellent.